What are you doing down there?
Fixing
What are you fixing?
razor.
Fixing the razor? What part are you fixing?
This one.
That one right there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I have to get this metal out.
You gotta get that metal out
Yeah, and then see what in there.
and see what's in there.
But what is in there?
What's in there?
Maybe candy.
Maybe candy?
Maybe gummies.
Maybe gummies. Okay, well, we'll keep working. What?
Oh, Globus.
I don't know what that is. But we're gonna keep working.
Globus gummies.
Goldfish gummies. Okay. Well, we'll see if we can find some goldfish gummies. Alright, so as you've seen from the last video, we had some critical failures. So today we're out working. Actually, today and yesterday we were out working. Yeah, yesterday I'll kind of briefly go through that and explain what we did, because a lot of it you've seen us do before, so I'm not going to bore you guys with showing you the same thing a bunch of times. Christopher's been on his own project over here working on swapping out the carburetor. The original carburetor we had on here, I can't remember if we've talked about this on the channel or not. It got pitted from gasoline setting in it over the winters, setting for a long time. It just kind of goes to show how terrible the ethanol in the gasoline really is. It will eat up all your aluminum stuff. So, yesterday while I was working on the razor, Christopher was swapping carburetors out. He's charging the battery, and we're probably going to be starting here shortly. Yesterday, I pulled the front differential out. Doesn't look like a big deal, and it really wasn't. It took just under 2 hours. We stripped the brakes, pulled the hubs apart, disconnected everything, pulled the axles out. The hardest part was undoing the clamp from the front of the drive shaft, and that really wasn't even that bad. So I will say, not a bad deal. Today we're going to actually tear the differential apart, and we're going to do some measurements. I called Sandcraft to get a rebuild kit, and they want me to measure the bearings, the axle bearings. So we have a new digital caliper. It just came in the mail this morning, so we're going to get to work. So one of the most important things is staying clean about this. I'm pretty sure there's some water in here, so the fluid we get out is going to be nasty. But still very important to try and keep clean, keep the dirt out. I got a little vacuum here on standby. Whatever we take apart, we'll clean up, and we're going to see where we're at here. That's my new caliper. Pretty excited. It's been a long time coming here. So okay, we're tearing her apart. I'm taking my time. There's lots of videos on YouTube about tearing these down. The bolts around here came out really easy, and it just popped right apart. I did not drain this because I wasn't sure what was in there, and I just didn't think there was much in there to begin with, honestly. So that's kind of leaking out on our towel. All these little rollers, they popped right out of here the second I picked them up. So that's not a big deal. We are going to inspect this. I'm pretty sure it actually seems like it's aluminum. So that's different than the plastic one everybody says they're getting. But been very careful. I got a vacuum here for any kind of dirt that might want to fall inside here. I mean, we're going to spend a lot of time cleaning this up and cleaning it out and everything, but the less we put in there right now, the better. So let's move on. Okay, I normally don't film this part of these videos, but I am having a hard time getting this apart. This is stuck together, and I don't know why. Every other video I've watched, they come right apart. But this overheated and blew watery oil up the vent pipe. So there's a reason this got too hot. And right now, I'm not seeing it. I mean, this bearing feels tight. This is, I mean, there's a tiny bit. But this is the driver's side of this. And for whatever reason, the bearing seems, it rolls free, doesn't really make noise, more than you'd expect out of a bearing. I don't know what's wrong with it. So I'm hoping that I can get these apart and take a better look at it, because that might be where the problem was. Okay, I figured it out. To get these two things apart, I had to put them in the bench vise and pry on both of them. Then we get into here and we find out that they're not supposed to be fused together like that. And all that darkness is from where we had water in there, and it just fused itself together. So, not good. The bearing seemed okay, but on the advice of some friends, I think we're gonna do some replacing here. I gotta get new cups, bearings, seals. I think we're gonna keep this cage. This is a solid aluminum cage. I don't see any deformities or broken springs or any issues at all. No cracks. It looks really good. So we're gonna keep that. That is a 6-tooth cage. We have a 6-tooth armature spring. And I think we're probably gonna get a new one of those. We'll see what comes in the kit. And go from there. We are going to do the pinion seal, excuse me, and bearing, but I'll get to that in a minute. First, I'm going to go order some parts. I think we need to pause a second for a little clarification, because it's going to get complicated here. When I gave Sandcraft the measurements, they told me that I had the internals of a 2016 turbo in the front end of my Razor. Now that's a 2017 900, so there's a big difference. But with that in mind, when I ordered the hubs, I ordered hubs for a 2016 turbo. Now pay attention, because that's going to be important here in a minute. Alright, just an update. It's been a few days. We are still waiting on parts. I'm expecting parts from Sandcraft tomorrow, and you had to reorder the Polaris OEM output hubs, and I was expecting those 2 days ago. So this morning I'm going to make some calls and find out what's going on with that, and we're going to move on. But for now, since we're up, we're going to do a couple wheel bearings. I stopped at Spicer's and picked another one up. I thought I had two, I only have one. We're going to have to get a couple more here before the week's over and get the rears done. I did a video on that, so I'm not going to bore you guys with that process, but just an update. Let's see what happens next. Okay, like I said, I wasn't going to show you the whole process, but I was pounding this bearing out, and it fell apart. Now, this machine has 3,000 miles on it, and I've done bearings a few times. I've never had it fall apart like that at the end, so this one was pretty bad, I guess. Okay, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. I decided to clean this differential up a little bit. I'm waiting for the auto parts store to open at 7:30 here, so I can go get some Loctite for the wheel bearings. It's true what they say. I tried it, and obviously everybody's seen it in videos prior to this, but I just put a little self-tapping screw into that seal right there, and it pried right out. This bearing doesn't feel bad, but since we're getting the whole Sandcraft kit, we're going to do it all, plus the new seal, obviously. So, yep, let's keep working. Okay, so it's just one thing to remember as you're pulling this out. There's two snap rings, one on the inside and one on the outside of the bearing. The outside of the bearing runs right through here. And to get it out, it really wasn't that hard. Now obviously if you have a major what do I want to say, a catastrophic explosion or something really bad happens, this could be worse. But for the most part, most of these that I've seen, and this one's no different, I started it with a little punch here in between the teeth, got it down a little bit, and I moved to my homemade drift punch. Okay, try and keep it off the teeth, but you're not going to ruin them as long as you're not stupid crazy about it. And it popped right out. So there she is. We'll put her up on the bench vise here and pop this bearing off, and we'll be ready for the kit. Okay, got the bearing pressed in. Make sure you put a film of Loctite on the outside of the bearing. As in previous videos, that's what we do. Make sure you put the snap ring back in. And I use my greasing tool and my air greaser here, because that's way easier, just to put some grease in the bearing. I've never been 100% clear how much to put in. I always end up wiping a little bit off that comes out the middle here. And I really wish Polaris would go with a sealed bearing here, so we wouldn't have to worry about it, or something with a grease zerk on the outside of this. But you know, I understand a lot of that process, so I get it. We just kind of roll with the punches here. So we'll get the other one pressed in, and we'll be done for the day. We need to call on parts, and I might be running down to Kalamazoo to pick up our output hubs. We'll see how that goes, but either way, we'll see you back here in a minute. Alright, that's two of them done. Snap rings are back in. It's all greased up. Nothing really big, but I did really want to mention, I was thinking about it, don't be afraid to be too clean. Don't rush this process. You know, unless you're working in a dealership or working in a repair shop, or, you know, making flat rate or working by the job, don't rush this process. Take your time. It is a lot nicer when you slow down. I know you go through a few more paper towels, but slow down, or rags. Keep things clean, and these things will last a lot longer. Alright, good morning. Let me catch you up on what you missed between the last clip and this one. We drove to Kalamazoo yesterday, which was about 3.5 hours from here. We picked up a couple more wheel bearings, because I thought I was going to end up with aftermarket stuff, but they had wheel bearings. Picked up some demand drive fluid, and I got our new output hubs. Not cheap. Every time I watch this clip, I look at the difference between the new output hub and the old one sitting right there in front of me. Now, I know hindsight's 20/20, but boy, I wish I'd have paid more attention. Then, a day early, as soon as I got home, in the mail was my Sandcraft kit. There's our new bearings and seals, the new cage, new armature plate. Look at this thing. Look at this compared to this. Tell me which one you'd rather run. Unreal. And then, obviously, the new cage. This is an aluminum, but oh man, just the feel of this is better. And then this piece here, the housing, or I can't remember exactly what it's called, the spring housing, that's billet instead of the plastic one. So let's get cleaning and let's get to work. Alright, so we got Christopher out here helping. First thing I did is I took the factory bearings off our factory output hubs. Check these out, make sure they look good. I don't really have a choice at this point. They are what they are. While Christopher's over here, he took out the old drive pin, or the spring retainer pin, that little feller, and put the new one in. And we got the spring on, and the new spring retainer. One on goes. There we go. We're moving right along. Okay, so the next step we did, I put the seals in, the outer seals. Now I know in some videos I've seen where they just snap right in. Maybe it's the humidity, because it's ridiculously hot here in Michigan right now, and it's only 7 o'clock in the morning. Or it's the fact that I'm putting Sandcraft seals. I'm not sure what it is, but they didn't go as easy as I thought. I had to use my homemade drift punch here and a dead blow, and I got everything seated the way it's supposed to be. They fit, everything's gonna work, just did not snap right in like I've seen on some. But moving on. Alright, just a quick update, and I'm not going to take it apart because it's all full of oil. Keeping everything lubed as we put it together. I took off the factory bearings on the output hubs. Those are right there. I put the Sandcraft bearings in. Oh, and I also did the seals. The outside seals. I can't remember if I said that or not. This is not as precise as the machine stuff as I thought it would be, and it's not near as clean. So I spent half my time just cleaning everything out. One of the bearings I put on, I had a catch in it. I freaked out a little bit because I thought this Sandcraft bearing I just put on was junk. So I sprayed it out with some brake clean, spun it around, and then I re-lubed it up, and the catch is gone. So I think it was just something rolling around. Just goes to show you cannot be slow enough and clean enough with this process. I mean, obviously I could probably be faster, but the thing is, it's my first time. We're going to take our time and stay clean, but stay clean, because anything left in there is going to get ruining things later. So let's move on. Alright, so we got Christopher working on his first wheel bearing. He's going to do all by himself. He's going to do the back passenger farthest away from me. No, I'm watching pretty close. It should go great. And while he's been doing that, I switched the H-clips over. My hands are all full of oil. I didn't want to use the camera and do this at the same time, but they pop off with a screwdriver, and then you just snap them onto the new carrier. Usually the Polaris plastic ones are destroyed when you take it apart, so the H-clips are kind of like a hide-and-go-seek thing. These, I took every single one off. It's just a screwdriver, pop them out, pop them in. Very self-explanatory. Just make sure they go in the same way. Make sure you have every one. Like I said before, this is an aluminum carrier, but the corners here were getting chewed up by the 6 contact armature plate. So this is going to be twice that. I'm pretty sure this is like 12, and it's a lot thicker plate. So let's move on. Okay, just an update. We got the bearing pressed on to the pin gear, and we put the snap ring in. Don't forget the snap ring. I'm not saying that because I've done it, I'm just saying that because it's really important. Don't forget to put that snap ring in and make sure it's clearanced and it's setting in there. I was a little concerned about it, so I made sure it slipped in and out, and it slips around the shaft here, so we're good to go. Now we're going to install this into the case here. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on it. And we're going to gently install this into the case and put the snap ring on the big snap ring here. Remember that side that was chamfered. And we'll keep going. We'll put the seal in after that, obviously. Okay, I just want to show you a little thing that I did around here, and I'm guessing it's from when we put the axle in, but there was some nicks that were kind of sharp feeling. I'm not going to take a file to this $1,200 or however much $1,000 case this is, but I took my little utility knife and just took the nicks off. Like I said, I'm not trying to smooth it out, but I took the sharp parts out, so when we put that seal in, there's no way it's going to leak. Alright, got the seal put on. We've drove the pinion gear in on the bearing. Don't be afraid to hit it. Make sure you're using this like a dead blow. You don't want to damage any of the metal. Then the seal just kind of taps around. That snap ring with the chamfer I talked about, the chamfer goes towards the outside here, facing this way. That's how I put it together, because it wouldn't go together the other way, and it wouldn't drive in any farther. So things looking good so far. It doesn't spin as free. I can't just spin it, but it's lubed up. It's good. The seal's tight around the output shaft there, or the input shaft, I guess you'd call it. So I don't think there's anything wrong. It just doesn't spin freely, which I suppose if it spun freely, it would probably leak. So we're gonna keep going. So Christopher's over here getting ready to press out the bearing. His first bearing. Circled around there. Okay, so can't do this with two hands, but this springs when it activates, and then when it lets off, it pulls this armature plate back and unlocks the rollers. So that's all set in. Now we're going to take our output hubs that have been stuck together over here for a minute. We're going to set our long one down in there. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to pull this ring gear and stuff back out, and I'm going to seat this into the seal first, then we'll continue here. Okay, just make sure when you put this on, the lip of the seal is back where it's supposed to be, and you'll know because I had to put it in twice to make it fit right. But now she's in there moving free, we'll put her, get back to where we were. Also, don't forget this spacer deal. That's got to go on here as well. I'm sorry, it doesn't go here. It goes on the other side of this. There's a spacer. Try this with one hand. It's not working with one hand very well. There we go. There's our ring gear. Oh, you got her deal? Oh, good deal. Alright. Everything's meshed together. We didn't change the ringer pinions, so we don't have to change our backlash or anything. And the bearings are the exact same size, so nothing should change. And now we're gonna, oops. Well, this is a pain in the butt to do on camera again. I'll put that back together and we'll get working on this cage here. Okay, we're gonna stop just to tribute what I just did. I got the rollers all in to the cage here. I used a hair scrunchie or whatever this is.
It's probably better to use a rubber band though.
The rubber band would have been better, but this worked out to get the first row in, and then I set it in, and then I just kind of put them in as we went and set it down in. So, all right. Well, we got you. Let's throw this piece in. All right, we'll do it off camera. Okay, I had one roller that was sitting in there crooked, so I think we are ready for an armature plate. And we'll activate our rollers, and I think we're close to putting this top on. I'm going to pour a little bit more oil in here to get everything nice and lubed up and spin it around a little bit. And I'm going to double check. And there's our two plugs right there. I'm going to put those back in. But I feel like we're almost on the money here. We didn't do anything with this besides put the new seal in. The activation of the four-wheel drive was fine. We weren't getting that popping noise or nothing. We will deal with that as it comes. And as easy as this was to pull off, I can't imagine it would be too hard to. Well, I mean it would be, but it won't be too terrible to take it back apart again if we lose the magnet. But
wait, you hear that?
yeah, it's not lubed up, and what you're rubbing against is the output shaft on this side and the output shaft on the other side are rubbing together.
Oh.
Because there's no lube in there yet to kind of keep everything magically from touching, I guess. So, we're going to lube her up and... Oh, we forgot. Oh, no, we didn't. No, that's the spacer. That's that. That's the spacer over there. Yeah, I think we're ready to throw everything back together, because this lip here is going to fit over this lip, and everything's going to set right down. Yeah, let's finish her up. Okay, so I shortcutted a little bit there. Put the cover back on, made sure the seal was right around the output shaft there. Then I torqued everything to spec. You can look up the spec for yourself if you want. And I filled up our fluid. And it's, I think it's like 8 ounces is to the fill, but basically you fill it up until it comes out the hole. And so that's kind of what I did. I just tipped it on its side a little bit, filled it up. I wish it was this easy when it was on the machine, actually. And no, I can't take it apart to check it, even though that would be awesome. And filled her up till it come out the hole. And we roll around here, verify everything works. And without engaging the four-wheel drive, we can't see the output shafts turn, but everything in there is spinning like it should. And let's throw her back in the machine now. Christopher's working on cleaning out things. Alright, we got our vent tube back on, the plug's plugged in. The bolts are bolted down, actually bolted in from the bottom. And what we're working on right now is just reattaching this drive shaft, which is kind of a pain in the butt, just to get it spin and put in place. Not sure if it's better or worse than the stock one, but this is the CCI driveline drive shaft. So instead of a roll pin or a bolt like some drive shafts have, this has got like a collar that you clamp down. So I don't mind it. We're getting there, a little bit at a time. Okay, we've run into a snag, and it's not just any kind of snag. This is a monumental snag. The output hubs that we put into this front end are from a 16 turbo. What you see before you as a machine is a 17 900S. Okay. Now, when you think about the two machines, you think there are some very big differences. In the first one that sparks my mind is the 100 horsepower difference. And in a turbo, compared to a 900, you've got bigger axles. So if you can see what I'm seeing here, you can see a output hub considerably larger than the axle. Okay, and of course we didn't figure this one out until we started putting things back together. So that's going to require some difference or some work here. But I want to go to Windrock next week. So we're going to take the old output shafts that are still good as far as the bearings are concerned, but they were locked up here. We're going to take these output shafts and we're going to take some sandpaper, put them in the vise, and I'm going to try and smooth this down to where these will slide together with the oil in them just like the new ones do. And then we're going to have to do a complete front end rebuild again, but I'm probably going to wait till tomorrow morning when it's a little bit cooler out. Right now it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and about 100 degrees, and in this garage probably 110. So as long as this will work. There was the leak we have to address in this one, but I think what we're going to do is, one of the fixes that I've seen was clean it out, and we put RTV down there. So we'll do that. If we can get this to work, we'll do that. We'll put the RTV and let it set up overnight, and then tomorrow reassemble everything and kind of cross our fingers. And we'll just have to check the fluid and keep it full on our trip, and then eventually figure out the problem. And what the problem I'm figuring is, these are not regular 900S hubs. I had a friend that said maybe these are 1000 XP hubs, but I don't have anything to compare it to, and any parts store I order things from is going to have to, or anywhere I would get something from, they're going to have to order it for me to even look at it and compare. So that's a bigger problem for another time. We're going to try and get this to work, otherwise our trip's a bust. So let's get going. Okay, we'll give you a quick update, because I can't leave my fan off for too long. It's stupid hot out here. I got the output hubs swapped out. It's the same procedure as what you've seen already in the video. I wasn't going to repeat it. The axle popped in, as it was supposed to, and we're going back together. We got almost the passenger side done. I got a couple more things to do. We'll throw the tire back on, and we're going to move on. Alright, so we got both sides of the front put together. Christopher finally woke up and came out. And we are finishing putting tires on, and oh, you broke it.
It's bent.
Yep. Time to use an actual torque wrench. We're torquing axle nuts, and we're going to be done. I can already see a little problem. Yeah, a little bit of wiggle right there. It's coming from the heim joint. It'll work for this trip, but we're going to have to address it here shortly. So, always a list of problems, always a list of projects. But luckily for everybody else, that means we'll always have more content for videos. So let's keep going. Those are broken. All right, thanks for helping. All right, so we took a test drive, ran to the gas station, got some snacks. We are done. Everything felt good in the front end. I locked it in 4-wheel drive, and I felt the front tires lock up with each other, and then I unhooked it and they disconnected. So I'm gonna call this a success. And we have, how many days? 4 days. 5 days. 5 days before we leave for Windrock. So we always like to cut it right close to the wire, right? It's not fun unless we're doing it exciting, huh? All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate your support. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe, hit the notifications, and we'll see you in the next video.